Hello and welcome to another ramble from the Honest Football Podcast. I'm Craig Savage, and with me is Mr. Daniel Cody and Charlie Betts. You can watch this ramble on YouTube, and you can listen to this ramble on audio content. Where can we listen to this, Codes?
Basically everywhere, mate. Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and the rest of them. If it's a good podcast place, you'll be able to hear us.
Fantastic. And Charlie, where can you watch us on YouTube?
At the Honest Football Podcast, I believe, Craig. You completely thrown me under the bus there. I was not expecting you to come to me.
You've forgotten the YouTube.
I've completely forgotten.
Fantastic stuff. It's been a while since we've done the last ramble. It was before Christmas. First of all, how was your Christmas and New Year?
Yeah, it was very, very good. I thought actually, it's quite nice, obviously compared to the previous year in terms of obviously on a human level, being able to spend Christmas with your family, but also actually going to be able to go to a football match, which is probably what our primary focus of this chat is. But yeah, so being able to go to live football again was definitely a highlight of my Christmas.
Kate?
Yeah, much the same. And I have just today actually got back down to the pre-Christmas weight, which is excellent news for everyone all around. But yeah, obviously, look, I know we're going to get onto it, but the best bit about Christmas and New Year for me this year, as well as being out to obviously see your family and friends and all of that, is the fact that out of a negative came a positive. Lots of COVID postponements in the professional leagues, and it meant that we were able to go and see loads of non-league football with bumper attendances, and Charlie the same in Northern Ireland. So I guess that's the starting point, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Charlie is rocking the Ballymena United shirt. Did you go out there to watch them during the Christmas period?
Well, it's always, as happens obviously in the summer games, you're going to talk about in and around Christmas, which is quite clever and they try and keep games local, local derbies and all that, because obviously you don't want people travelling, various parts, levels of the country to go and watch football around Christmas time. So, but yeah, one of them was obviously Ballymena versus Coleraine, which would have been on Boxing Day, but Boxing Day falls on a Sunday, and in Northern Ireland they don't play football on a Sunday. So I went to watch that, and it just sort of led me on to, so I was going to ask you lads actually in a minute, it was, the last 5 minutes of the game was fantastic. Ballymena had scored in the 90th minute to win 2-1 against you on a local derby. But it's sort of one something I want to talk to you lads about is how actually a last minute winner hides the actual nuts and bolts of the game. Because to be honest, the game was terrible up to that point. But you look back for a few days afterwards, whether you're a neutral or whether you support any team, whether it, watching it on TV or what, but you do look back slightly romantically. And actually 89 minutes of that game was dire football. The pitch was terrible. There was a blowing wind. Neither team wanted to keep the ball on the deck. It was awful. But for the first few days afterwards, I look back and thought, what an absolute, what an incredible game of football because of that 90th minute winner. And it just made me think, asking you two, what 90th minute winners stand out to you? And actually, did it mask or, romanticize your view of the actual game? In reality, it probably wasn't that great game of football,
Well, there's a little bit of a segue from this, actually, because one of the games I've been to this year featured quite a high-profile late winner, which was Luton v Bournemouth last week, obviously. Yeah. The difference is that was a largely good game, but the last half an hour was a very poor game, and Luton, for the most part, to the last 5 minutes, were very poor in that last half an hour or so. But as you say, you come away and you think, God, that was the best win ever. And obviously, it was a great finish. It was on TV and all of that, and there was chaotic celebrations. But I think you're right to an extent. There's probably a lot of games where I've seen that. I mean, it's not even that. It's just the romantic side of football does that, doesn't it? I mean, I'll get onto the FA Cup game I went to where there was a surprise yet again. We probably had it with St Albans as well. You don't remember the poor parts of the game, do you? You remember the romantic side. So, yeah, I'm in agreement. What about you, Craig?
Yeah, I think it's always good for having the last minute winner. I think you have that out of body experience, and you don't realise what you're doing with going with a last minute goal. You run like some people obviously run down to the front of the pitch to like celebrate and hug people you don't even know, and it does bring that little joy into you. And it reflects on the players as well. You look at the celebration. Obviously, Cody went to Luton Bournemouth. You look at the celebration Luton had. I don't know. It's a January game, but it's a last minute winner. It's a 97th minute winner. It's past the added time, and everyone's gone mental. And Nathan Jones is doing knee slides all the way down the pitch, and it's brilliant. Even as a neutral, that you think that's absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's not good when it's against your own team. Don't get me wrong, but we've all experienced that in the past. But
I think, do you know one thing that obviously I haven't been to anywhere near as many games as you lads in the last couple of years? One thing you miss is just before the ball, if it gets across it or, someone's about to shoot, that hush, you just get that almost universal silence, don't you, just before they strike the ball or whatever. And I think when you get past that 90th minute, it just seems like it goes on forever. Like that, just as that ball comes across, everything seems to slow down. And I'm not just saying if you support the team. I think even as a neutral. I think maybe what added to the two games we've highlighted is obviously one being a local derby, and then obviously the Luton one being against, at the time, top of the league and really running away with it at that point, weren't they? Bournemouth in that sense. And so I think maybe that adds to it a bit. But yeah, I just think that moment just before it goes in, that if you can bottle that, it's such an incredible feeling, because it's such, whether you support a team or not, you can always feel the euphoria of everyone else around you and then the players and all that. So yeah.
Codes, you've been to, well, me and you have been to a couple of games during the Christmas period. One was abandoned after 20 minutes, Hitchin versus Tamworth. Obviously, the players made a full recovery, so that's pleasing to hear. Other non-league games we went to, Biggleswade Town versus Royston Town. So that was, well, Bedfordshire v Cambridgeshire, really. And let's start with that game first. It wasn't the greatest of games, but Royston deserved to win, and it was a bit good attendance as well.
Yeah, I think it's highlighted in both the New Year games we went to. Obviously, that one was New Year's Day, and then there was the derby the day after. And it was bumper attendances. Obviously, for me, that day I would have been going to Coventry v Luton. It was postponed due to COVID. And it was an opportunity to go to non-league football, because I think probably after missing it last year for Boxing Day or for New Year, you want to go to a game. I think that's something we've been used to for probably 30 odd years of our life. So, or 30 plus for you two. Sorry to point out your age, but but yeah, it wasn't a good game. I think that's a fair comment. It was a pretty poor game. It was a team struggling in confidence against a team that was decent on the ball but without a ruthless streak. And the one thing that made that game probably was the standard of goalkeeping, I think, to be brutally honest, without meaning to be rude. It was a couple of glaring errors and some poor footwork.
Yeah, and then we moved on to the next day. It was a Hertfordshire derby in the Vanarama National League South. It was St Albans versus Hemel. Second time we've been to St Albans this season. Obviously, the first time was in the FA Cup first round. And so St Albans on that day were fantastic. And in this game, in the derby, they weren't that great at all.
No, and Hemel were just scintillating to watch, really. Under the new manager, they've flown up the league. They're not far off the playoffs now. They got good results again in the last week or so. They look a really good side. I mean, the one thing I want to point out from that game as a side note is that St Albans scored a goal. I don't know if you remember, Craig. It went at least a yard and a half out of play. It was abysmal officiating, but no one cared because it was non-league football. It was hilarious. It didn't impact on the game, but it was a really good game. Hemel were a dark horse for the playoffs, and the Tea Hut was there again, which we talked about in the last ramble. £1 for the biggest muffins you'll ever see. I tell you what, they do catering well at St Albans.
Yeah, and the pricing was good as well. And obviously, they go out to, I think it's like just over 2,500.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it?
For a local non-league derby, I think it's fantastic. And if you do, obviously, go watch more non-league games if you can, because obviously they need the revenues just as much, and you're going to get entertained regardless.
I was just going to say, I couldn't think, just using Hemel, there's not many sort of leagues where you're going to get a team who's 8th, 9th in the league for minus 13 goal difference. I think they've got the 5th worst goal difference in the league, because I think they got, they got beat 6-0 by Dulwich at the beginning of the season, that kind of thing. But just really quickly what you're saying, the turnaround there has been incredible. But you probably do need to do something about that goal difference if they want to sneak into the playoffs, because that's where, yourselves, how close it can be towards the end of the season and all that. But yeah, no, I think that sort of thing, that's why actually, like you say, the goalkeeping errors and all of that, and ball going out for a yard, that's not doing anti-Premier League sort of stuff, but that's why you prefer that kind of football, because you've got those talking points, you've got those moments, which makes it so much better. It makes it a lot more real and almost relatable and a lot more enjoyable, because that's the sort of stuff that happens to us on a Sunday league, so that kind of thing.
And it played at a quicker pace now without VAR as well, because you haven't got the pauses in the game to check those things for 2-3 minutes. So it just means the game is constantly going. And I thought that St Albans Hemel game, probably as a league game, I know the Luton one skewed it a couple of weeks later, it's probably one of the best games I've seen this season in terms of entertainment. I thought it was a really good game. Hemel played well, and St Albans just put enough fight into it to make it a contest. You never felt Hemel were completely comfortable. So yeah, I thought it was a great game.
Yeah, and another game that also I say we've been to, obviously Cody went to, was the FA Cup game, Bournemouth versus AFC Wimbledon in the third round. Another cup shock on the card. So that's what, 2 now for us? 2, 3?
3 if you count Tranmere, yeah. Danny's missed a cup shock himself, I think.
Well, I've had 3 out of 3 rounds. Non-league teams beating EFL teams this year. We had Chesterfield at Salford, maybe not a shock, but a surprise. Bournemouth obviously at home to Wimbledon, and we all went to St Albans v Forest Green. But look, they scored their only 2 shots on target. They restricted Wimbledon to next to nothing. And they're pushing for an EFL place next season. They're flying at the top end of the National League. But it was a really good performance. It was a sellout. It was 3,500 people. It was sold out. It was the worst entrance to a ground ever, because where they tried to segregate the supporters, you had to walk through a park and the path was all puddle. So you just had Wimbledon fans and Boreham Wood fans holding each other whilst trying to get over the puddle. And the only reason they were going through that puddle is to segregate the two sets of fans. So that's one of the uniquenesses of football, where policing and common sense doesn't prevail. But it was a great game, a great atmosphere. And worthy winners, Boreham Wood, you get a big trip down to Bournemouth now.
I just think we shouldn't necessarily publicise this, Dan, because, if you start booking tickets for, all football league teams aren't going to let you into the ground for an FA Cup match now, because you think they're going to get beaten by a non-league side. So if we don't push it out too far, because you are clearly a Jonah for the giant killer.
If Kidderminster want to give me a ticket against West Ham, I'm more than willing to listen.
Exactly, there you go. You'll get a live ban now from any third round FA Cup matches. Sorry,
don't go Cambridge Luton. That's what I'm going to recommend. Speaking of the FA Cup, TV picks. Once again, we're not big fans of the TV picks. I think obviously this round's been a bit better. Obviously, Kidderminster on TV going to be this time. Cambridge, who won against Newcastle in the third round, one of the big shocks of the weekend. They are on the red button on our BCI player against Luton. But we have to be honest, the TV games from the third round weren't great at all.
No, and to be honest, the thing is I know we don't talk about that sort of league, but it's not as if it's an entertaining Man United side that you would have had 10 years ago where, okay, yes, I get they're on TV a lot, but it was actually quite exciting to watch them. The Rooney Ronaldos, all those sort of lads. The Man United side at the minute is quite a dour watch, to be brutally honest. And, I know they're going to put in the views, but it's not going to, I can't see it being an entertaining fixture, to be brutally honest. And I just think that, unfortunately, it's, as we mentioned before, it's going to get bums on seats for the casual football fan. But as purist, it's probably not. It's not the TV picks that we would like to see out of all the ones you had there. The thing is, the only way to change that is to vote your feet, but people aren't going to do that because we're so starved of free to air football, and that's as has been proven by this AFCON as well. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm not going to get my soapbox about. That you sort of take what you can get in a weird way. You're not, I mean, to be honest, I'll probably try and watch if I can instead either one of the Irish League games if they're on, or even the Scottish Championship out of the three that are on there. Because I've got to be honest, United Borough doesn't excite me one little bit, but yeah.
No, I've got to say, to be honest, Craig, the thing I will say is the third round worked really well because they missed all of the big events that would have got them great coverage. So now the fourth round they've had to resolve that. Boreham Wood and Kidderminster, the two non-league sides, both on TV. I would say though, and I want to be fair here, ITV are trying to make their advert money with big sides. The BBC picks to me have been a little bit better. I thought Hull Everton was a brilliant tie. It was Championship home to Premier League. Obviously the ownership stuff helped in terms of viewership too, but largely for me, it's been the ITV picks that have been poor, but I can understand why, because they get more TV money if they've got Manchester United to sell as part of their advert package.
Moving on, AFCON has started. We've done our predictions and the preview on YouTube, and it's on the audio as well. What are your thoughts so far on the African Cup of Nations? Starting with Charlie.
There's obviously been a lot of red cards, as I'm sure you'll allude to in a bit, Craig. It's been a tournament that we expected, I think, of teams who've not had a lot of time to prepare. It's been quite, because of that, what's the word? It's not been the most, it's been quite disjointed. Some entertaining games, but teams aren't playing free-flowing football that we predicted from some of them. And I think because of that, they've had, 4 or 5 days together before they're playing. You can just see that not up to speed as the team cohesion. But the ones I have seen, I've enjoyed. I mean, the Ivory Coast one, on today from when we're filming it, the penalty from Eric Bailly was abysmal. I have no idea in that kind of magnitude of a game why you'd want to do that. But yeah, I think on the whole it's been quite good. I think we predicted quite a lot of it. I mean, the Algeria thing, I don't think anyone in there, with half a knowledge of African football would have predicted them. And I'll be honest, Craig, I was sweating a little bit when Nigeria were starting to make a run for the cause. But yeah, unfortunately they got a bit. So I think it's sort of gone the way we thought, but maybe not in the way we thought it would go, if that makes sense.
Coates?
Yeah, much a similar thing. I actually think it's probably one of our most successful prediction shows ever in terms of being sensible. But obviously there have been some slow start to the tournament, I think would be the fair way of saying it. A couple of the well-renowned coaches made good points, actually, which was that the first fixtures were almost like the warm-up games because they didn't have that time. And it's something we might see for the World Cup later in the year, because obviously the last fixtures domestically are only a week before the tournament starts or just over. So that's something that we probably have to look ahead to later in the year. But it's grown in terms of goals. We've seen some cracking goals in the last couple of match days, the last 16 and the final group stage. And we've seen a lot of competitive fixtures in games where perhaps it wasn't expected. We correctly predicted both of the new boys would get out the groups. And there've been some big surprises. I've found it really enjoyable. Probably just the first match day when it needed to grab the attention is the one that was the letdown, which is unfortunate.
Obviously, what about you, Craig, in terms of an outfield player and goal? Having done that yourself a few times, you I think out of the three of us, you're the only one to watch the whole game from beginning to end, and the whole sort of saga that built up to that.
Yeah, it was this tournament's been it's been a weird one. It's been ridiculously crazy. We've had a referee that has blown full time after for 5 minutes to go, and then 2 minutes to go. Obviously, the game's been tight, not many goals, as you said in the first round of fixtures, and then we've had VAR obviously taking full effect with a lot of red cards. Luckily, there was no red cards in the last game that's just been shown with Ivory Coast, Egypt. So that's a pleasing thing. No more red cards in there. But obviously, yeah, I think the main talking point is Comoros. Obviously, they had a COVID outbreak. The main goalkeeper was injured after the Ghana, who also is a big shock that went out early as well. They were pretty poor as well, and they've had to field an outfield player, the left back, and do you know what? Comoros won me over. Obviously, I didn't want Cameron to batter them, and they didn't batter them. This is to be brutally honest. I thought Cameron were really poor on the day. I thought it was done and dusted before the ball was kicked. But Comoros, to their credit, kept it tight, kept it in the game. Red card was a little bit harsh with Jimmy Abdu, the former Millwall player, but they gave it a good go. And obviously, it was a fantastic free kick, and it the game with Morocco and Malawi was another worldie of a free kick as well. So, but yeah, Comoros, I think if Comoros won that game, it would have been the biggest shock in international football. I know we've had England, Iceland and England, USA back in the 50s, but with Comoros, with a COVID outbreak and no goalkeeper, if they won that game, it would have easily been the biggest shock against the host nation as well in the tournament. So it's just been a weird tournament, to be honest. And I don't know about the rest of the tournament now. Obviously, I said Nigeria win. They lost to Tunisia 1-0. So yeah, I thought I was looking good for that. I don't know. I generally don't know who's going to win this tournament now. But also, I just want to obviously there has been some obviously unfortunate deaths. The stampede, which obviously we pay our respects to the people who have lost their lives in there. And now it's time for my favorite game of all. It's Guess the Fine. Yes, Guess the Fine is where we look at a league and look at their fines throughout the whole season. And Charlie and Daniel Cody here are going to guess how much a certain rule costs. So Charlie, last time we did the Southern League.
And he got angry as always.
And he got angry as usual.
I've had some hot chocolate this evening. I'm hoping that will mellow me out a bit, but go on.
Where do you think we're going this time?
I'm going to
actually, I tell you, I didn't do the Southern League. I did the Isthmian League. That's a lie.
If we've done the Isthmian League, then I'm assuming you are staying at that level. So either the Southern League or the Northern Premier.
I'm not going there.
You're trying to wind me up already.
He's just getting you simmering.
Stirring the pot. I'm stirring the pot. No, we are going southwest. The Southwest Peninsula League. It's step 5 and 6 in the non-league pyramid. I can tell you that it is one straight fee.
Yes.
So no, a minimum and a maximum. And we're going to start off with a fee instead of a fine in this one. I'm going to start with the referee fee. So let's start with Daniel Cody.
Oh, I'm trying to remember back to my days of Sunday League and lowest leagues. I reckon for the Southwest, I'm reckoning it's going to have a little bit of an extra charge on the tariff. I don't know why, if it's extra travelling, because I'd imagine that the league's going to be pretty far spread. I'm kicking off high. I'm going for, I don't know if it's high. I'm tempted between about 60 and 65. I think it might be more than that. I'm going 65 because I want to play safe of my two.
Charlie?
Well, I think that Dan has made a good point of the logic there. And Southwest Peninsula, I'm putting a stab at this, is Cornwall, Devon, that sort of way, in which he's already mentioned the travelling. Also, the roads, in the polite way to people who live down that way, are probably not, the easiest to be travelling around. So there's a lot of single carriageways. So you're going to have to be making it, people have to leave early. So I'm going to go higher, £75.
Google Maps by Charlie Betts there. The answer is 60 pounds. 60 quid for a referee fee.
For clarification, because I think it does impact on our answers. Where is the Southwest Peninsula League?
Cornwall, Devon.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, okay.
You're
right.
on the right lines.
Right.
You're on the right
Okay.
lines.
Right.
But
We've got a barometer now.
Yeah. So 60 quid for the referee. Do you want to know the assistants referees? Do you know how much they are?
40.
Third of that, 20 quid.
No, 40. 40 is correct. So
40?
yeah.
Could you not have asked that
£40.
one instead?
40 quid. Do you know, the thing is, right? So obviously, team step 5, step 6, obviously the same as what we've played at, right? They're paying 140 quid.
Yeah,
I hope the attendances are very high to pay, just literally pay off the referees. Charlie mentioned earlier about single carriageways and the long distance and that, but how much would it be if there was a late kickoff?
Can I just say that is the most beautiful segue I think you've ever done.
Thank you.
But I think, do you know what? I keep saying that I should research these, and I haven't in terms of looking at previous ones. Late kickoff. No one's going to be happy with that. People have gone a long way. If the referee's 65, it's going to be enough of the referee's match fee. 60 quid.
Codes.
Oh, do you know what? I don't know if it's going to be as much. I know before when we've had these, they've normally been like per minute and stupid stuff like that as well, haven't they? So I think it's going to start a little lower. I'm a bit worried that wasn't a straight number as well. It wasn't a 50, a 75, 100. I'm going to go 50 quid. I'm going to go slightly lower.
We have our first correct answer. It's £50.
Oh, straight on the button.
Late kickoff.
I love
is
this league.
£50. Right.
Go on the Southwest.
Go on the Southwest. Right. Next up is failure to start with 11 players.
Judah.
I don't know. I see this is a footballing one and they're always less, but I'm trusting the Southwest. The Southwest is not focused on admin. It's focused on football. And I think it's going to be, around the same figure, I'm thinking. A late kickoff and not having the required number of players is a similar balance to integrity, I would have thought. So I'm sticking the same, I'm going to stick 50 quid.
Charlie.
Well, so far they've been multiples of 10. So I'm going to go for a multiple of 10. And I'm going to go for one that's 10 less than Dan. I think 40 quid because it's less, like you say, that it's not an admin fine as such. So it's a football one. 40 quid.
Right. Okay. This is going to be a problem here. So Charlie's right in a term.
Yes. There's a but coming.
But
half a point.
It's £10 per player.
Oh.
But the max is 40 quid because obviously
anymore.
4 players got, obviously you're only allowed 7 players on the.
But surely then if the game's forfeited, then it would be 50 quid because they're 5 players short. So.
But then no, that'd be a different rule. That'd be a different fine. That'd be a different fine. That'd be a totally different fine.
Fair enough. I'll accept defeat.
So I'm gonna give Charlie half a point on that one. Right. Next up is
very generous.
Next up is a incomplete team sheet.
Oh,
right. That's going to be more because we know this with leagues, and I've got a lot of respect for Southwest League, and it has been multiples of 10. Incomplete. I'm going to go back to 40 quid again. It did me well last time.
I think it's going to be higher because this is a mix of both football and admin, and this is where the book really comes down.
Perfect storm.
I'm going for. But then is it going to be higher? Yes, 75 quid. I'm bringing out the 5s.
Okay, right. It's a lot lower than you both said. It's
not per player again, is it?
No, it's no per player. It's £25.
It's on a 5. Where'd that 5
But
come
the 5s are out. The 5s are out.
5s are out. But
right.
only if it's incomplete. So if you forget to put a number down, or if you forget to sign who actually wrote the team sheet, that's 25 quid.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
But what if that player on that team sheet was ineligible? How much would that be?
Can I just say, I love the tapestry of where you're linking these together. It's beautiful. Like
I'm trying so hard. I'm trying
for each question.
I'm trying to get to the next question to segue that in.
Whose turn is it? Sorry,
you.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the question? I've completely forgotten because I was so obsessed with what you were doing.
Ineligible player.
Okay, ineligible. See, there's been previous ones where we've done these, and it's actually not been as hard as what you thought. And I think and they've come on the pitch to confirm because there was one before where
he's playing. Yeah, he's playing.
80 quid. I think that might be a massive one.
Codes.
See, I'm similar to Charlie. I'm thinking big. I'm thinking 100. But I'm also thinking incomplete team sheet, playing the ineligible player is, I would argue, twice as bad. So I'm going twice as big, 50 quid, and I'm hoping they don't think it's 4 times as bad.
£60.
Oh, that's 60.
They've gone back there.
So that's 60. That ineligible player costs as much as a referee in this
I
league.
was about to say, I couldn't remember what number 60 was.
Every human's worth the same. Fair play.
Communism.
So that ineligible player, he's on the pitch. He's using the balls. But what if that team, the home club, did not use the balls that are provided by the competition?
Oh, right. Beautiful, Craig. Beautiful. I didn't know where you were going with that one.
I was a bit worried as well, but I don't think that's going to be as big. I'm going back. I'm tempted to even go lower than the 25, but I don't think it's going to be lower than that because sponsorship reasons, that will have a financial implication for the league. So I'm going back to 25, but I've got a feeling this is going to introduce another funny multiple of 10.
I'm going to go down the middle, 50 quid. And the reason being is, like Dan said, someone somewhere has paid to have that ball supplier and with that sponsor on it. So they've gone nice and round. They're not faffing around. None of these £2.50s or anything like that. 50 quid straight on there.
We have our second correct result. Now, is Daniel Cody going for a 2-0 lead or has Charlie leveled it up?
Don't forget the half.
Well,
Yeah,
he can technically. And I can tell you that Daniel Cody has taken, he's doubled the lead, actually. It is £25.
Wow. Very good. It makes sense. 50 would have been too much, but 25 does make more reasonable sense. Do you know what the supplier of balls is in that league, Craig?
I cannot tell you. I'm sorry. I didn't check that last week.
We need to get to a game in the Southwest next month, don't we?
Yes, we do. But what if you couldn't use those balls by the competition because you failed to fulfill that fixture?
Big.
That is big.
I'm not going to give too much. I think you're going to start adding fines together here because you've got an eligible player and all of that. 150 quid because someone's losing money whenever this happens, whether it be sponsors or, backroom fixtures. £150, huge one.
Codes.
I think it's going to be more than this because we're looking at 60 quid for the referee, 40 quid for the 2 officials. That's 140 already. We're then talking about the incomplete team sheet. We're taking that past 150 then. So I'm stuck between 200 and 250. And I know it's big for that level, but we've seen big fines before for it. I'm going 200, but I've got a horrible feeling.
Well, that horrible feeling is there because it is £250.
Oh,
no!
I've nearly got everyone right here. This is ridiculous.
This is the best guess to find. Anyway, we've got one more to go. One more. And that last one, I can't segue in, not going to lie. It's failure of the player to wear the number according to the team sheet.
Oh, is that me, isn't it?
It's you.
I am going back to the standard. Look, it's got to be the same as the team sheet issue. It's the similar type of issue. 25 quid, simple as you like. Yes, 25, I'm certain.
I'm fairly confident he's right. So for that reason, I'm going to half it at a random number, £12.50. Per number.
Oh, God. The correct answer is not £12.50. And it's not 25. It's 15
Oh, he was almost right.
I wish you went 15. I really wish. I'm going to go lower. But
that would have been a last-minute winner, ironically.
That would have been a last-minute winner. But that is, guess to find, Southwest Peninsula League. Daniel Cody wins by 2 correct scores to Charlie's half. Next time, we're going to pick somewhere up north. Yeah, that was the quiz, South Peninsula League. Let's move on to what's happening in the next month. Charlie, you are playing a Sunday League game, I believe.
First one in, 6 months, although last time I did get man of the match and scored a goal, but it was possibly...
Can I just say, Charlie, we do know because you've told us countless times and sent us the clip countless times, but, carry on.
The thing is, the build-up hasn't been great. I've gone for 2 runs in the last 6 weeks, so it's not boding well for it, and it's actually a top-of-the-table clash, but in the cup. It's in the cup quarter-final, League Cup, but the top 2 teams in Division 4, admittedly, but still. So, yeah, I think I'll get a bit more of a run around than last time, but it'll be interesting. are interested, no doubt you two might even film it. I'll probably will hack my guts up after about 20 minutes, and it'd be worth it for that alone. So yeah, there's your admission fee.
Charlie, we can bring back. You remember the old Sky Sports player cam in the early 2000s? We're going to do that. Just 90 minutes of footage of Charlie Betts will be live.
Oh, I can assure you, you'll need the wide lens for the gut that's appeared recently. So it will be, yeah. But no. There won't be a lot of movement. As we have all explained many times on this podcast, the first 5 yards are in your head. So, and I don't move any more out and out my head now. So there you go.
It's any Luton games planned?
Well,
apart from the home ones that you got season ticket on.
Yeah, rather annoyingly, no new away ones. It was going to be Peterborough, but that's been moved for the FA Cup tie now. So my next away one isn't till March. So by the time we're recording the next episode, I'll be talking about how expensive it is to get a train to Middlesbrough, because that's going to be a big feature length of my next episode, because it is bordering on disgraceful if you want to go direct. But yeah, no exciting ones for next month. The only thing I've got next month separate is the rearranged Hitchin Tamworth, which you're now not coming to due to an inexplicable wedding on a Monday night. Craig, please.
Yeah, who gets married on a Monday? That's an excellent point, Craig.
Charlie, you got married on a Thursday. So
what I will say, it was a lot cheaper. It was definitely a lot cheaper.
There you go. That's probably the reason why. COVID has made weddings not a Saturday anymore. They made it every day of the week, which I am looking forward to. That wedding.
As long as you're not going in your football tracksuit this time, and all will be right.
Oh, no tracksuits.
Can we post that footage somewhere now?
You attended a wedding in a football tracksuit. I'll never see anything like that again in my life. But yeah.
Yeah, no tracksuits for me. For me, obviously, well, this won't come out by the weekend. Obviously, going to go Luton, Blackburn. Hopefully.
Well, Craig, you've got a promotion push, or not even promotion push, title challenge now, which on your team you coach, which where you're back before Christmas didn't look as anywhere near as likely to happen. So, you're on an incredible streak, aren't you?
I think, obviously start of September, October wasn't great mentally and physically for myself in the league. Obviously, we've been on a great run. We've had the whole December off, like Luton. We've had the whole December off. But yeah, obviously we're still playing catch up, and we're going to miss another weekend because we're not the team we're supposed to play folded. So yeah, once again we're going to play catch up. So yeah, we're on a title push. Hopefully we can be up there this season. We've got teams that we got to play twice down there at the bottom. So, but obviously every game's going to be tough. We've got to have the right mentality and a cup as well. So hopefully we can at least push for something, some trophy and silverware. And you never know what this manager might do if we win something. So
manager will be there, don't you worry.
Wait and see come May if we win something. So, but yeah, we'll take everything game at a time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It was nice being back to manage after a month off because it was very bored. I'm not gonna lie.
Like being injured, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like being injured, and yeah, you kind of like forget. Like it was similar to Luton Harrogate the other week in the FA Cup. The first game back was rustiness, but we won the game. So yeah, we'll say the end of the day. But yeah, hopefully we can keep that momentum up. And I'm desperate to win something as a manager. Absolutely desperate.
I'm sure you will do.
I hope so. I really do. We're pushing.
Camera now.
I know.
Yes.
I didn't do any. I'm not doing a Kevin Keegan. I love it if we beat them. I love it. No, I hope we do well.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have the squad there. No troubles. No more admin errors.
What a way to end. What a way to end.
And that is our ramble for January 2022. If you're on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the Honest Football Podcast. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, audio content, please give us a positive review. Listen to it in full. We do appreciate that. That was Charlie Betts. That was Daniel Cody. And I'm Craig Savage. And that was Ramble.